Habayim. Good evening and welcome everyone. It's a great honor to welcome you to this special Veheshiv Chizuk event, Havineni Ve'elmeda, a night of inspiration, enrichment and empowerment. We're privileged to have with us the world-renowned expert, Harav Shlomo Erlich Shlita from Monsey, New York, who will address us in a few moments. First and foremost, a heartfelt thank you to Rabbi and Mrs. Katz for graciously hosting this event, making this dream into a reality, and ensuring every detail is taken care of to make this evening a true success. May Hashem bench them with abundance of simcha, nachas, from all their children, gesundheit. Amen. A special thank you to Rav Shmuel Darzi of Merkaz Nachla for sponsoring this hall, and we're very grateful to him. This week's parasha begins with the words, Vayishma Yisroi, Kohen Midyon, Choisen Moshe Ki Hoitzi Hashem es Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Rashi asks, what did he hear that made him come? And he answers, he heard Kriyas Yamsuf and Mechemes Amalek. But there's a difficulty here. The Pasuk already says that he heard about Yetzias Mitzrayim, meaning that he already heard everything about Yetzias Mitzrayim, including Kriyas Yamsuf and Mechemes Amalek. What's Rashi adding? What did he hear? And the answer is that Rashi is asking a deeper question. The whole world heard about these miracles, as it says, Shomu Amin Yirgozim. But Yisrael heard something different, something more. There's a difference between hearing and internalizing. The world heard, but Yisrael understood. The world was amazed for a moment and moved on. But Yisrael let it transform him. He changed his entire life. He was misgaya and he joined the Jewish people. We know the final words in Parashas Beshalach we read last week. After the Milchama of Mechemes Amalek, Milchama Hashem ba'Amalek midor dor. Amalek's battle is still with us today and will continue until Mashiach's day. Amalek is the gematria Sofek. Doubt. When we have a doubt, is there a Ribbon Shalom? Is Hashem in control? Hayesh Hashem be'kebeinu im ayin. Amalek plants confusion, uncertainty, instability, disrupting our peace at home, and our decision making and our ability to move forward with clarity. Tonight, we have gathered here to be like Yisro, to listen and understand, to gain clarity and practical guidance, to learn how to combat doubt and confusion. Tonight, we have gathered here for an evening of learning and growth, to internalize what we hear, to make it real, and to create change. If we do our part, Hashem will do his part. And very soon we'll be zoche to see the fulfillment of the Novi Malachi's promise, which is the last nevuah of our nevuah that we received before going out to this Golus close to 2,000 years ago. V'heishiv leiv avos al bonim v'leiv bonim al avosom b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen. Without further ado, it's my honor and privilege to introduce Harav Shlomo Erlich.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Torah Anytime for recording us. And Torah Anytime is, the mom is spreading the word. What's your slogan? It's God's reason for the internet? So like that, okay?
Largest yeshiva in the world, largest base medrash.
Largest base medrash in the world. Okay, so let's dive into the thing. We only have an hour to speak, and then we'll get into questions and answers. I think we're going to speak very general on the concept on how we should view our kids that are keeping us young. People say my child is, they're making me old. It's the opposite. People that have like a life, their life is blah, they get old, right? They keep us young. They want to make sure we're growing, we're moving on in life. On my way in, someone approached me and he said that he learned in Daf Yomi a few days ago But the Gemara says, Umar Admair, that if someone has a child, a Rusha, then he's called Rasha ben Rasha. So before we start the conversation tonight, we got to deal with this Chazal, because it could be very, a lot of people, their husbands learn, we all learn, many of us learn Daf Yomi, and it could seem like, what's going on? What did I do wrong if I have a child that's a Rusha? So first of all, to make something very, very, very clear, that none of our children are a Rusha. Not even close. What does a Rasha mean? A Rusha means someone that does something dafker, lahachis, planned to do against Rutzon Hashem all the time. A tzaddik could do a maaseh rishus. At that moment you can see, this person did a maaseh rishus. You stole money from someone, you embarrassed someone. A person to be called a Rusha. And let's go back to Chazal. So let's say we did find someone that is a Rusha. Why is the father called a Rusha? And I was thinking, as this person was asking me this question, saying what he learned a few days ago, is that something very interesting question. The Torah tells us, Lo yimsi uvas albunam. We're not going to talk Torah the whole time, don't worry. I just want to be mamtik, this Chazal, it should make sense. The Torah says, "Lo yimsi uvas albunam, lo yimsi bunam aluvas." Parents will never be died or punished because of the sins of their children, and children will never be punished or killed because of the sins of the parents. It just doesn't work that way. But then we daven, we say, sometimes by Tachriv say that that we have the uvan, like we see the Asura Malchus. The Gemara says clearly that they were nifted because they were killed because of the sinas u'achem between the shvutim, sinas chinam. So they are dying because of the sins of someone else, so they're not. How does it work? But really, it doesn't mean that. It means to say if the child still has the same trait, the same midah beyerisha from the parents, it's not because the child is actually transgressing that aveira now. So it's called you're dying of the sin of so. The Chorban Beis Hamikdash was because of sinas chinam, so we're still called on the name because of their Uvasakdashim, the Shvutim. They had sinas chinam, and you still doing it. In other words, it wasn't eradicated from your genes. It wasn't eradicated in your machne, going over from parent to child. It's called on their name. But if they would not have sinas chinam at the time of Asura Malchus, they would have never been killed just because of that. It was called on their name. And the same thing is with tzidkas. If someone does a maaseh chesed, a real chesed is oisig b'midas ahava, what is it called? You're doing ahavas Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was the first one that did such big extraordinary chesed. So the children, whenever we do, you're doing midas Avraham, midas Yitzchak. The name chesed got bound together with the name Avraham. Gevira got by with the name Yitzchak, so we say his midas Yitzchak. It doesn't mean Yitzchak Avinu. If he doesn't have that midas, it's not that. So it's in Toiv and Lemitiv. So Rusha ben Rusha means to say probably that if someone is stuck at the real Rusha, if I haven't met one, I'm only 47 years old and I only met thousands of people in my life. I never met a real Rusha. I never met. I'm trying to. I don't know. I just never saw one to fit all the criteria according to Chazal, who's considered a Rusha. But if, let's say, we do find such a person, why do we say it's like like the father of the parents? Because probably not to say that the father must be a Rusha, a specific trait that he shares, that's all it means. So we got that off our chest? Done? Okay, now let's dive into things. Hashem gave me the schis to work with teenage boys, for many, many, many years. We're talking about probably 18, 19 years by now. I'm stopped counting. Close to 2 decades. One-on-one with the boys. I was involved in different yeshivas, different classes. We had different groups. I'm in this field for many years. Now I'm dealing with girls that are struggling, really, really struggling. Baruch Hashem. I haven't met, nowadays, a boy or a girl that went off the derech, so to speak, because they realized that they went through all philosophy and they had all the questions in the world, and they realized that that atheism is the right thing, or agnostic, or whatever you want to call it, because they mamish saw that evolution is true and Moshe Kibbutz Torah Messina was not true. I haven't met someone that stopped keeping Shabbos for that reason. So we need to get it out of the way, that as well. There's no such thing, a boy going off the derech today, or a girl struggling with tznius, with Yiddishkeit, or with Shabbos, with all the other stuff, or substance abuse, because they realize that, Yiddishkeit isn't shtemas. That doesn't exist. I haven't met such a boy and such a girl. I've met a few of them that claim that, just because it's easy for them to fight with their parents. It's after they went struggling, dropped out of school, and got into trouble many times, decided to comfort their inner ego, their inner guilt. They came up with things. I have a question on Hashem, this one and that one, and who says, how do you know? Maybe Christianity is right, maybe this one. They come up with these silly questions. But you talk to them 5 minutes, you realize that's not the cause. We did have this in Klal Yisrael many years ago, we did. A lot of Yidden in the times of the Enlightenment movement, our school, we had many Yidden. There was such a ruach in the world that's going around our school. They were selling books to little kids and making fun of Yiddishkeit. And if they went over the derech, there was some kind of... Now it does not exist. So what does exist? What's going on in the world? Rabbi Yankele of Peshawursk, we all heard his name. Rabbi Yankele from Antwerpen was a very big tzaddik. Was nifter, 20 years ago, I think Rabbi Yankele from Antwerpen said that Klal Yisrael, what does Golus consist of? Golus started from after Churban Beis Hamikdash. The first Golus was the Golus HaNeshama. Everybody was trying, all the Sonei Yisrael were trying to fight. They were trying to fight the Neshama for Klal Yisrael. So you had the Tzedokim, the Karat, to break us, the Yevunim, it's all to break Yidden away from Torah mitzvahs. That was going on for the first third of Golus. After that, it came Golus HaGif. It started by maybe Spanish Inquisition, maybe war, Tach. There was a moidige Golus HaGif that Yidden was struggling and had to be moister nefesh, not only for Rachnis, now they had to be moister nefesh for the Gif, to stay Yid, to bleiben Yid, and they slaughtered us left and right, Shem Yirachim. And the last biggest one was the Holocaust, which, needless to say, which was probably the biggest physical Gif. So Rabbi Yankele said the last Golus before Mashiach comes is Golus HaNefesh, the emotional Golus. We are living in a time where emotions are so, you look at a person and they have a plain face, you have no idea how they're feeling now. Or also they're doing extra outrageous behavior, extra happy, extra sad. It's a very fine thing. It's not seen with the eyes naturally. You can see someone with a broken leg, they're physically broken. An emotional broken leg you don't see until you talk to the guy, till you get to see how their behavior. So the only way we see and we know if someone is hurt emotionally, we see if they're doing risky behavior, their behavior is telling us where their emotional system is up to. So we are actually living, and this is our avodah as parents and as teachers and educators and the rebbes and whoever they are. Our avodah is to help Klal Yisrael manage with stress. Anybody have stress ever? No. Who is stressed these days? Not exactly, right? I think that every single family, I know for a fact, that every single family has multiple issues to dealing with now. I remember just 20, 30 years ago, there was, certain issues happening certain places. And then every family had one issue. Now I think we're all dealing with a lot of it. And 90% of it, if you look into it, is in our head. It's in our thoughts, in our feelings. It's emotional stress. That's what we're living with. Of course, Hashem gave a big refuah before the Makkah, and He sent so much therapy in the world. There was no psychology going on till 200 years ago, and not 200 years ago, till 20 years ago, as much as we have now. There's so much help, there's therapy, there's so much to help. There's a refuah for the Makkah to help us manage and work through and work out how we could manage with emotional stress, emotional gulas. We're living in an emotional gulas. For someone to survive our school system, for someone to survive our moisdus, for someone to survive our lifestyle, as a teenager and a child, let alone us in our age, of course, you need to be so healthy. You need to be so healthy to be successful in school. You need to be so smart. You can't have a tiny learning disability. You can't have a tiny ADHD. You can't have a tiny anything. If you do, you're already doomed. You're out of the other 30% of the class. You're just not making it. And then the stress from the friends and the peer pressure. There's so much going on in our communities, in the whole world, but we'll talk about us now. For a little girl, a little boy to survive, and let alone many, 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 if not most of our kids that went through terrible abuse. Some of it that we know, and some of it that we don't know. Going through bullying by teachers, malamdim, by other kids, older kids, neighbors, of being molested, being touched inappropriately, or being exposed to something in a sudden way, inappropriate things for a little child, for our kids. They suddenly see something that they're not supposed to see. That's the biggest trauma. So can I say the word that all of us and all of our kids are living in trauma? Can we feel comfortable with that? That's the mitzias. They have emotional trauma. We're living in such stress. We're not saying this that we give up. We're not give-uppers. None of us are give-uppers. How do I know? You came here. For every person here in the room, there's another 30 that didn't come. I'm being nice. Really, there's 50 more that didn't come for every person, but I'll be nice. I'll say 30. So we are not give-uppers. What does not give-uppers mean? That we're taking more stress on ourselves in order to help our child deal with their trauma, with their pain, and they should, Be'ez Hashem, heal from it. That's why we're here. You know, they say a chain is only as strong as the weakest link. All of us are here, the whole Klal Yisrael that exists today, 2,000 years of Golus. We're all here. All of our cousins that are living in Tel Aviv or in America somewhere, they didn't even know they're Jewish, is because someone along their chain, from the Elta side in the Elta Bubby, wasn't strong enough and got caught off from the chain and they just swifted off. If you're still from, or if you came back from, you're very strong. So don't worry. We have in our genes a lot of trauma, but a lot of strength. Crazy amount of trauma, but extraordinary amount of strength is right in us. We have it. We don't feel like we have it sometimes. We're like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to afford this? How are we going to face this? How are we going to... There's so much going on in this. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm living it myself also. I'm not just an expert in this field. Hashem gave me two such beautiful neshamas that I have to deal with on my own. I'm dealing with it. I'm living it now on a daily basis. I'm not just preaching. I'm living it. So I have to say that. So we are all so strong and so not give-uppers that we are going to do whatever it takes to help our children deal with the last Golus, which is called Golus HaNefesh. And our kids are the ones that Hashem chose that they should carry even more of this Golus HaNefesh. Not because they have weak nervous system, many of them do, and many of them just the opposite. It's just because they're such neshamalach. Which of the kids, the most struggling boys and girls today, are the most sensitive and in tune kids in our society? I see everybody nodding their head. Right? Isn't it the most sensitive kid? I know my own too. The most sensitive kid that really... my kid used to blush as a kid if another kid was punished for no reason. Took it so serious. I remember my daughter asked me, she said, I don't understand. My teacher is such a hypocrite. I said, why? This is way before she was struggling, a regular healthy kid. I said, at least we thought so at the time. I said, why? She kept saying, Bezrat Hashem, it's Hashem, it's Hashem. And then she told the class one day, she has stress, she's marrying off her daughter, and she's all nervous about it, she doesn't know, and she's like, all nervous. I don't understand. She believes in Hashem, why is she nervous? This is the kid that went off. Does it resonate? I remember when she came home, and she told it such a tmimus to my wife. I don't know how old she was. I don't know, 7, 8 years old. She said, Mommy, my face is shining. Do you see it? So my wife said, sure, it's shining. Tell me why. My teacher said, if you do a chesed, your face shines. I gave away my snack for a girl that didn't have, and she doesn't even know that I gave it. I put it into her pocketbook. and or whatever backpack. This is the kid that's struggling with hypocrisy around us. Our kids are going off because they're seeing hypocrites. That's trauma to them. And other kids that don't care, they don't go off. They don't have to care. There's kids that do care and don't go off. Not to just understand what we're dealing with. So our Zisa Kinderlich that are giving us so much pain, I'm going to change the word, that are giving us so much exercise, they are our gym trainers. We're in the gym. Right? Most of us are lazy. We all walk around with a keychain from the gym for a few months. You go 2 times, you're still paying every month, and we don't show up. And here we have a kid that says, no, you're going to do that. Well, it's not physical muscles, it's emotional muscles. It's working on our ego a little bit. It's working on our inner strength. It's working on us, on our emin a little bit, on our betuchen a little bit. It's working on us to work out that maybe many of us have to become a little more clear why we're Jewish and to really know things. One of my kids said, why do you make like that, Bavdallah? So silly. And I gave a beautiful answer. I was sitting with my kid. I said, who else wants to know? My other kid said that they're right. Why do we do like that? And I once repeated this at a crowd, and a few people put it down and said, we don't know. Adults. So don't we need to thank our kids for asking questions? Thank you, shkoyach. I don't know, I'm going to find out. You know what? I'm doing things because I'm a tumim. You're not a tumim. I would also like to find out. Now everybody's asking why we do that. I'll tell you why we do that. The most beautiful tefillah that we have, and us, specifically us, should really zoom in and tune into it, is the tefillah, the first tefillah that we have at the beginning of every week. You know what the first tefillah of the week is? Hinei, kel yushi yusi, eftach v'lo yevchad. I will have betuchan v'lo yevchad, and I will not fear anything that's coming this week. How do we start the week? You know, all of us have, but it starts by Shashidus, right? And Matzah Shabbos, everybody says, that's probably the chalev, maybe the children feel down. No, our subconscious said, another week. We're going to deal with all this. How are we going to deal with all the stress? And we have to tune into the pusik. And I was telling my kids, we say 7 times Hashiyu. Hine kel Hashiyu, see after Hashem Hashiyu alamchu. Hashem tzuvut. For every day of the week, we say another pasuk that says Hashem Hashiyu, give me a koyach for this coming week. When we light the candles there on Shabbos, the mamas, the Yiddish mamas, what do? We light a separate candle for each child. 1 wick and 1 candle. Havdalah has to be many wicks together. Why? Shabbos, Shabbos B'manicha, every child is their own neshama, everybody's okay. To go into the week, we need to be together. It can't be a private candle, it has to be a avika. It has to be a torch. And that's why we're holding the torch. And what are we doing like that? Because we're making Havdullah. And the Gemara says, Ein das Havdullah Manayin. If you don't have cycle, how can it be Mavdul? And the more das you have, the more you're able to differentiate even tiny, minute things. And the more das you have, you can't say he's a tzaddik or Rasha. Oh, there's so many in between. So much gray area. We Yidden say even, we say Havdullah between Shabbos and Yom Tov, Hamavdu ben Kodesh leKodesh, ben Kedusha Shabbos leKedusha Yom Tov, V'vdalta v'kedashtu, es av chisiru v'kedusha Heichel. What does it mean? We have such a das, Hashem expects from us such tiny details. The difference between the koiches, the ar, and what comes down on the Shabbos and the Yom Tov, Hashem expects from us. So Havdullah is all about that. So what do? We look at our Shach Nurich with the gloss of our nail, and then we see Havdullah between the mat and the shine, and then this way we see the cracks. What is it called? The lines in the hand. So you see the shade of the. But you want to hear a beautiful thing? When I was saying this, my wife was standing there, my 3 other kids, and my wife always has nice, beautiful vertelach, and she says, I have a good word. Why we go like that? She says that we're holding our hands, we're going to do parnus this week, and we're going to carry everything. And we look at our hands into the fire, the collection of everybody, all the neshamas together, the whole family together, and we're looking at our hands, and what do we see? Just a few weeks before, I said on Shabbos a shiny word from the größte Maggid. He says, Yegiya kapechu kisoi chayil, ashrecha v'toivlach. So he says, Amoy de Gevat, the Heilige message from Maggid, the Talmud of Hashem Tov. He says, Yegiya kapechu, the work that you're going to do, kisoi v'lach asher, kapecha means you should work as much as your hand fits into your hand. Not your whole body, you're just doing your shtadlis. Put out your hand and do whatever you can as much as it till here. Don't let it get into you. It's then ashrecha v'toivlach. If you think that you'll work extra, you'll do who knows what, that's already too much. So, B'havdullah, we put up the hand, my wife said, just as much of the hand. We're going to do a shtadlis this week again. Not only panusa, we're going to do shtadlis with our kindlech, everything that we do with our hands. That's all. Aglet, agitavart, ashilam aleichem. That's all what it is. So that's the tefillah, and we start Eftach v'lo yevchad. We're going to, Hashem, we're going to try not to fear this week. We're going to rely on you a little bit more. So if we're given this such a task, such a beautiful, beautiful, amazing, difficult, heavy, complicated mission, we need to face the complications and be real and deal with ourselves. Be kind to ourselves sometimes. Put away a little time if you find a few moments. Do something extra for yourself to build up. Socialize a little more. But on the other hand, we need to get to work, roll up our sleeves and say, Ribono Shel Olam, you put into my hands such a beautiful neshamas, and I will do everything in the world to help them accomplish their mission in their life. I will do everything in the world, whatever it takes. And what does it take? It's not so complicated once we get there. Until we get there, it's difficult. If a child gets to a place that they have to hurt their parents, they have to behave in a certain way which they know they're hurting us. They grew up in our homes. They grew up in our moistus, they know what's right, they know what's wrong. If they're doing something self-hurting, self-harm, harming themselves and disconnecting and being different than all their friends that they grew up with, they drop all their friends and start socializing with so-called friends, we know they're hurting. And if someone is hurting because someone was given the real mission of the last Golus, is Golus HaNefesh, how can we judge them? We need to really, really, really open our hearts and feel bad for the person. If someone hurt me and embarrassed me, I have two options. I could be the little child, which is sometimes permissible even when I'm 45, and to get upset. Why did he do that? But if I'm moichin the gadlus, the way we call it, Chassidus Shurim, is moichin the gadlus and moichin the katnus, there's certain moments that all of us are moichin the gadlus. We see everything and everything makes sense. It's clear. Everything is. We know what we're doing. It's amazing. And then there's certain times we're moichin the katnus and we're not ready to see the big picture. We're seeing everything from a very narrow place. But when we're able to live in a place of moichin the gadlus, we start going into midas harachmunas, next level. Really, really feeling bad for them. And thinking to yourself, I can't believe it, she walked into the house with that miniskirt, or whatever they're doing. It must be she's so much pain. How could I help my child not be in pain? Are you walking like this? I just bought you a new coat yesterday. I would never buy a coat like this to someone else. To the other kids. I'm being given a car so much. You know what I'm doing? And you dare walking into the house like that? We start judging everything they do. How can you swear in our house? Everybody has different levels, but we've seen it all. I mean, they're always very creative. They come up with new stuff, but yeah. They always surprise us. There's always a surprise. There's like, I'm 18 years, I'm still learning new stuff. It's amazing. If we want to help a person that's hurting, we could only do it through rachmim. Real rachmunas. That's the method. That's the idea. To understand that these kids are really carrying so much emotional pain, it's just too much for them. But why? My kid was always, look at my older kids. They're doing great. This is my youngest. And the kid older him and younger him, and everybody's doing so. Why does it always have to be this kid? Okay, let's ask together Hashem, why? We can't ask your kid. There's a Modiin about in the Pri-Uretz. We all know it. That's a Sirul the Giden know in Tveria. In the Chassidische Chelk over there, in the Basachaim, we have the Mendele Vitebske. The Heilige Mendele Vitebske is one of the greatest, the top of the pyramids of Chassidische Tzaddikim. He writes in a Sefer, in Pashas Shoftim, in the Sefer Pri-Uretz, one of the most fascinating pieces of Chassidus you could ever read. Yiddishkeit. He says that Hashem chooses certain people to do His holy work, to be in the Beis HaMedrash, and to learn the whole day, and to daven, and to connect. Hashem gives them zero ADHD. Hashem gives them a body and eyes. They have no dyslexia. Nothing, everything is perfect. They need to grow up to be the Loimdai Torah, because this is part of the army of Klal Yisrael. And the Lush, not of the Sefer in front of me, but he says, Lush, they Kanesh, like an eagle, just like that, and he just soars into the sky, easy. And then you have other Yiddelach, that Hashem puts them in a place of the lowest places in the world, because they have to create a Kiddush Hashem in that area. And whatever they'll do, they're not going to be Matzlich Rachnis, they'll only be Matzlich over there. And he says, it's a Gava. It's the most humbling piece in the world. Whoever needs to work on to be humble a little bit, take the piece Pasha Shoftim from the beginning to the end. It's not too long, it's 2 pages. Learn it. I'm telling you, when I learned that, it purifies you. It's like a wash machine, but in a positive way. But it really puts us in place. Still a Chassidische Sefer is not going to put you down. You're not going to find the Chassidische Sefer telling you to go to the Gehenna if you're going to. That doesn't exist. You know, there was this, okay, I'm not going to go into stories because we don't have too much time. Some people, their Avodas Hashem is to work to have a skirt from here to here, and that 1 inch, this is all they need. We need to put ourselves on the side. It's not easy. Very difficult. I remember, I went through this journey, I'm still going through. There's a lot of Avodah that we need to do. Our trainers of our gym are very active. They make sure they show up. They show up every day. This is their avodah, do we know? But it's so easy to do this avodah if you live in the olam harachman, in the olam of rachmunus, the olam of understanding that this is, nobody wants to be there. If they're there, means something is pushing them there. It's just not something they want to do. So what do we do to help someone with their emotional stress? Every person in the world, each one of us, to grow up healthy, in a healthy childhood. What's a healthy childhood? We need to be safe, secure, seen, and soothed. We all know it, right? Some of you know it, the 4 S's. And if they're not showing up successfully in the teenage years, a little older, means that they're missing it. So we do it right now. So what do? We see them. When a child walks into the house, you say, "Hi, you look so great today." Instead of saying, "Wow, what made you put on that skirt today? Where's your couple? Where's your yarmulke? What's going on with you?" That's distancing them more. That's giving them more pain. The result is going to be they're going to embarrass you even more. Not consciously, subconsciously. We could rewrite their childhood. Be'ezus Hashem, it's more difficult as they get older. To give them a moiridiga ahava. And to make them feel secure. And to mamish give them security. And they should be seen. They're important to you. You remember everything about them. You share with them. You go along with them. Your interest is where their interests are. If your child likes to go gun shooting, you go with him. Go with him. Take him, I don't know what it's called, no?
To the shooting range.
Shooting range, that's the word. Go to the shooting range. My son never asked me that, so I don't know that yet. I'm learning a lot of things, but The idea is not that I should go down the Derech Chas V'Shalom together with my child. The idea is to try to join them in as many places as we can. That if my father, my mother is interested in what I'm interested in this silly song what they're listening, or whatever it is that they play games, I don't know what it is, and you're there with them, they're being seen, safe, secure, soothed, that you're there with them. And a child comes home and shares with you that this great movie actor, I don't know, the house got burnt in California, and your child is in pain. You say, wow, that's a terrible thing to lose a house. I know what you're really thinking. I know what a Frimi Yid was thinking when Saddam was burning down. We know. Yes, it is Saddam and it was burning down. But for our kid, this is their role model at the moment. This makes them feel good, because for some reason they don't feel good by us. So if this is where they're now, go join them where they are and say, wow, terrible! That's the Mahalach. The Mahalach is not that you should shmad together with your child. These kids are walking around with so much pain that they're paining you. That they're giving us pain. I heard it so many times. Many years of Avni, yeshiva, a place, a holding place for these bukhrim, for these tzaddikim, real big tzaddikim. And I heard from them so many times the pain and agony that they're living, the guilt of how much pain they're giving to their parents. They'll never tell it to you, never, no. It's just the way it goes. They'll tell it to me, they'll tell it to your friend, they'll tell it to your aunt and uncle, they're not going to tell it to you. Why? Whole different conversation, doesn't it see us? Speak to any person that's involved one-on-one with these kids, with these boys and these girls. They'll tell you exactly this. These kids are carrying so much pain. All of us naturally want to give nachas to our parents. And that's why when our parents give us a compliment, we feel good. My mother calls me up. She still does it. I'm already a Zaidi, Baruch Hashem. I am, Baruch Hashem. And my mother could call me and say, Shlomi, I just saw this clip from you. I like that word that you said. I feel like $1 million. What does that mean? I know she's proud. I want to make my mother proud. We all want to make them proud. Or else if they abused you, but normal. This is something, and if a child is not doing that, they're in pain. They're wetting their pillows every night. Most of them are nocturnal, so they're every day. Every day. So that's just to make sure. And it's normal if your kid is up a whole night and goes out with friends. We all need to feel wanted, needed somewhere. If they don't feel it in school and Chayder in yeshiva, they're going to outside world by these chevra. In Basa Monsi, it's the 7-Elevens. So the 7-Elevens here, where do they hang out? Katzefet? That's the only thing I know because I like their crepe there. What else is there? They're hanging out somewhere. It's so easy to socialize with other chevra. It's so easy to socialize. Without us, it's this skirt and that and up and tznius. So many million things need to work by us. You need to daven this way, you can't daven that way. You can't daven in that shul because your father davens in this shul. And we go over there, it's so easy. You say, hey, what's up? You're good to go. I know the slangs, it keeps on changing. They say the music is sick. I get sick when I hear that word. But sick evidently is a positive word today. The wedding was sick. Yeah, it's a good thing. Okay, but truthfully we're guilty of the same because we used to say some shigigit. And my father didn't like what we said, meshigigit. Says meshigit. So we're all guilty.
To die for.
To die for. So it's so much easier to fit in, to be part of that community. No strings attached. You know, all you need to have is a bigger cell phone, all you need to have is a bigger this, a longer nail polish. What? You know, green, purple, orange this week and the next. What else do you need? You just need to come up with 6 piercings and 7. What does it take? And you're the hero. It's very difficult to be a From Yid today. If you're struggling with it. And if it came easy to you, you don't even know what I'm talking about. So if we could create for them a place where our Heilige Kinder are going to feel by us welcome, we are your team, we are your best friends, we'll chill with you, come chill. Chill used to be cold, right? Chilled water? Yeah. So let's chill. Be'ezus Hashem, we're healing them. We're starting to rebuild. They should start feeling a little bit more the sense of belonging by us rather than there. And one of the most painful things that happens in a person's life, when someone went through trauma, any type of trauma, learning trauma, Yiddishkeit trauma, abuse, something happens to them, they get disconnected. There's a disconnect. They disconnect from everything because you need to fend for yourself. It's like a coping mechanism. Everything, they're disconnected from reality, from everything. So what do? We create attachment. We attach to our kids in a very, very loving, not judgmental way. That's going to heal them. They should start being able to think and see the world in a more healthy outlook. And then they'll start, that will bring them to a place they should be able to make a little more smarter decisions. Speeding is not the best idea in the car, driving. Or drinking too much alcohol. It's not the best idea. You could talk to them and try to give them a whole drusha and explain to them and statistics. It just doesn't even go in. They're not in a place of being real. They're not grounded. That's not the case. First, they need to be cuddled from us. They need to really feel that my parents love me, endless. They are my fans. Each and every one of our kids. The regular kids and the other type of regular kids, all of them. If they know that we believe in their future, you don't need to believe in them now, you believe in their future, I know you, yeah, you're going through your stage, you're going through your phase, you're doing certain risky behavior, but I know the world is waiting for you. You have the best heart, all of them have moedige gitte malas, and we just need to bring it out and believe in them, the ta'emes, and there is what to believe in them. In all of them, there is what to believe in them. And just bring it out, and again and again and again and again and again. They should start knowing that all your building a relationship with them is not because you want to bring them back to Yiddishkeit, it's just because you care for them. You're my child. Health first, Yiddishkeit second. You know why? Because if health is first, Yiddishkeit will be forever. If health is not there, Yiddishkeit will never be there. So a child should never feel, oh, my parents are nice to me because they want to bring me back to Yiddishkeit. Oh, the child started wearing a longer skirt or a bigger yarmulke or wearing a yarmulke, not keeping the phone on Shabbos or whatever. And you say, wow, I'm so proud of you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Leave Yiddishkeit to them. They'll be healthy. They'll choose Yiddishkeit. Do we really believe that Yiddishkeit is the best thing in the world? If you do, don't sell it. You don't need to sell it. I don't need to sell a good product. If I'm a salesman of, this recorder, if I'm a salesman of this and I go into stores and I believe that this is the best voice recorder there is, all I need to do is go into the store, get my way in to talk to the buyer of the store and say, I'm selling you this product, it's $100, you can sell it for $150. Done. If the guy wants to have a good product, so buy it or not. Like, this is not a good product, I need to sell it and come back every day. No, I'm telling you this is better. You don't need to sell it. Don't sell Yiddishkeit. Stop it. To fry Yid, that doesn't know Yiddishkeit, of course, they don't even know what it is. They grew up in our homes. If they saw a good shalom bayis, and if they saw people chesed and kindness that goes on in our communities, there's no place in the world what we do, what Yidden do. Yes, we have a lot of issues, yeah. But the Klal Yisrael is the most beautiful thing in the world. The Torah, Yiddishkeit, Vanishli, Ishtoi, everything. Hashuv Savaida, which part in Yiddishkeit is not Geschmack? So we don't need to sell them Yiddishkeit. We don't need to. A lot of parents need to sell Yiddishkeit because they themselves are not 100% excited about it. And if you're not calm, we'll make a lecture about it. We need to jump every day that we're Yidden. Baruch lekani shebrun lichvoidoi. Atu b'chatuni mikol ha'amim. I remember my father, Ula Vashulam, was lifted 2 months ago. We had a debate between me and my brothers. His most favorite tefillah, and we came up, there was Ata B'chatunu. Ata B'chatanu. He was jumping. He meant it. He lived it. He was so happy as a Yid. Yiddishkeit is everything. We don't need to sell Yiddishkeit. Stop selling Yiddishkeit. Don't tell your kids nothing. If they're not doing it, they're in pain. They're hurting. They're not able to make smart decisions. Let's fix the root of the problem. Yiddishkeit will come back. Yiddishkeit is the last thing that happened to them. You know that? When they dropped it, it was the last thing that you do. You're in so much pain. The problem is we didn't know our kids are in pain until Nebuch they dropped out of school. They dropped wearing tznius or doing other things. So we say, there's a Yiddishkeit problem. No, it's not a Yiddishkeit problem. There's something in this kid. Why are they dropping all of this? Yiddishkeit will come back, the last thing, if they choose so. Most people who are healthy, in a good place, they'll choose to be a from Yid. But that's not our mission. We love our kids regardless. How can we not love our kids? Let's all remember when our child was born, our little daughter, our little son, and went to the Kiddush. I just did an Einikol just last week. We went to the hospital with the balloons and the newborn and the simcha. Let's go back to that feeling with that kid. That kid had a few bumps along the way. Something happened, that love went away. Chas v'shalom. Chas v'shalom. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that moment and say, I love this kid endless regardless. We jumped into bus bombs of Yerushalayim. I remember when I was a teenager, a mother jumped into a bus bomb to save a child. She got killed and the child was thrown out of the window. We die for our kids. Suddenly, they're doing a few things, a lot of things that we don't like, and that's it. The love is endless. Tell them. Live it. Don't let your pain, your ego, your image, and your worry about the other kids get educated. We're trying. We're all growing together and trying to figure out how to deal with this. But they should walk around feeling that my parents don't love me as much just because I'm struggling. Just because there's a shigoyin, there's pain, whatever it is that's driving. So now they're double in trauma. And you know what it does to the other kids? It makes them also feel insecure, unsafe. So if my sibling is misbehaving, and kids know everything, they feel. If they feel that you don't love and cherish and go crazy for that kid because they dye their hair yellow, the other kids feel it. And you know what you're doing to the other kids? You're telling them, if you don't behave, you're not part of this. And that's trauma for the whole family. So the opposite, when we have these kids, and we give them all the love and whatever we can, and we try to connect with them and make them feel seen, safe and secure, they're part of us, the other kids feel healthier. They say, okay, my sibling is going through some turbulent times. They must be very much in pain. There's some kind of trauma they're going through, and we need to educate the other kids and tell them what's going on. But this is not a conversation on how to talk to siblings. But even without talking to them, even before we talk to them, they sense a stability in the home. They sense that this is where we are. Doesn't Hashem do the same thing with us? So if Klal Yisrael doesn't behave, we're out. The Christians, Yimach Shemo, this is what they're saying. They're going around saying that the Yidden sinned, and Hashem gave up on the Yidden, and He made it Bris Chadusha, they confuse the Psikim, whatever, and they do whatever they want. And Hashem chose Chaz V'Shem, someone else, a different nation, and Hashem is giving them the Torah. This is Christianity. Reb Shimon, Moidi V'Rabi, all of our Rebbe Reb Shimon Russell says a beautiful word. He says that Hashem, just last week, Hashem took out the Klal Yisrael from Mitzrayim. Right? It says, well, Mem Tes Sharitum. I don't know how to define it. I don't know what that means. But if there's 50 levels, and by 49 it took us out, 50 would be too late. I think it's worse than the world is today. I'm assuming. Why did He wait? Reb Shimon asks. Why did He wait till such a level? Like the level 2 take them out. 3, 7, 49. Living with Goites, doing the worst virus in the world, and why? He said that the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to show Klal Yisrael, I'm taking you out regardless of your behavior. B'ni b'chayr Yisrael forever. We did the Egel 2 days later. Gans is the whole story, we're living it now, these parshas. It has no shaykhs. A Yiddishkeit will never be, if ganz Klal Yisrael goes off the derech, Hashem is still going to love us. There's still one way. It's not connected with our behavior. We need to tap into that because really we do love them. It's just so much pain that's covering us, more layers, and we don't know how to show it, we don't know how to connect with it, and we start feeling, maybe I don't like this kid as much. You can say, I love this child and have pain from this child. Pain and love is not a contradiction, even in marriage. You know, when your spouse says something by your in-law's house, something that you said, and she embarrasses you, and you feel so turned off, you can't talk to her now for a week. How she got hurt, right? We feel disconnected, feel turned off sometimes. It shouldn't be that way. We need to think to ourselves, okay, my wife said something that hurt me. I'm very, very hurt. But I still love her. She's important to me. Just think that, and you'll see you're not turned off. You could love someone and be in pain from that person. You can't love and hate someone, that you can't. The problem is, where does that come from? Many of us, when we were little kids, when we were punished, we felt, oh, my parents don't love me now. When I'm good, my parents love me. I come home with a test that's 90 and above, my parents love me. I come back with a 30, my parents don't like me. So they feel, if a child feels my parents always love me, regardless, even when they're punishing me, telling me I need to be in my room now for half an hour. I do that. I have my son, he's hurting the next brother. It happens in some homes, okay. Baruch Hashem, 3 little boys, quite active. And he beats up his younger brother, yeah. And I say, you need to go into your room right now for half an hour. Don't even dare come out of your room. I can't wait for you to come out of your room in half an hour. It really bothers me, but you need to go into your room right now. So I talk strong, and I give all the love, and I can't wait for you to come out, because that's not... So my child is in his room, he doesn't feel for a second my father doesn't love me. And that child grows up, he could be upset at someone without losing the love. So all of us, let's work on that. The Rebbeinu Shalom is doing this all the time. He didn't need this lecture. He doesn't get turned off. He doesn't get cold. He doesn't feel like, we're disconnected. Disconnected, come on. Between husband and wife living hundreds of times, parents and children, partners in business, neighbors. So how many times things are going to happen that the other one is going to do something that's going to hurt you? So every time we're going to get turned off, turned on. Takes 2 weeks to turn on our feelings again towards the other and back down. We shouldn't be living there. I don't think it's that complicated. Think to yourself for a second. Am I going to lose my love? No, the person, we're connected. I'm hurt. Immediately it comes back in. And that's what the Rebbeinu Shalom does with us. And that's what we need to do with our kids. I remember my daughter, when she started her journey, when she signed up to be my gym coach, trainer, my personal trainer, went shopping. I shared the story many times, but I just need to say it. And you walk into the big, I've been to Muncie, the biggest grocery over there is called Evergreen. Not a promotion. And I'm walking in there and she's dressed like Baruch Hashem, the way she wanted at the time. It was the first time it was public. And we started going through the aisles. And quite a few people know me in the town. It's my neighborhood, I live there, and I saw all the faces. That was him? Yeah. I saw everything. I was dying from inside. And this is a person that was preaching exactly this 10 years before this happened. Because I'm in this line almost 20 years. And I said, Shlomi, own up. Practice what you're preaching. This is the time, right over here, right now. I put myself together and I just, like a hero, like a going down the aisles, nothing. And I must say, like the third, fourth aisle, I was good to go. This is it. Come to the car. My daughter starts crying, tearing up with this, and she says, Tati, I really hurt you. I'm so sorry I hurt you. And I said, no, you didn't hurt me. I was hurt, that's my own issue. You're going through your journey, you're exploring yourself, whatever you need to do, you do you, me do me. If I was hurt, it's my issue, my journey. You don't need to live a life that's going to give me, I need to live a life where I'm going to get my own self-esteem, let's say it, my own place in this world, regardless of how my kids look like. And then I told her, I remember I was holding her shoulder and I said, there's nothing in the world you could do that's going to take away my love from you. Nothing in the world. And I'm living it, Baruch Hashem. I'm not saying it's very easy all the time, say the least. It's a journey. But it's the truth. There's nothing in the world you could do not to love a child. You could be in pain. Don't be scared to have pain and love at the same time. It works. It's two feelings that work together simultaneously. It's nothing. But we need koyach. Let's talk about us now, a few minutes. We need so much koyach. Why do we need koyach? Because we're still human. It's very nice in theory to sit over here and say, oh, the beautiful things. It's still hard for us, still difficult. So what do? We get together. We try to make gatherings like the most amazing Shlomo Seifer and his wife they're doing in Bet Shemesh and I forgot your first name. Shlomeya and Rebbe Katz. And everybody doing groups and support groups and coming together and being each other's mechazik and sharing the stories. We should have koyach to continue going back to the gym. We need to talk about it. We need to remind ourselves that we're doing Hashem's work. We need to remind ourselves that this is the best thing in the world that could ever happen to us. We need to remind ourselves this is the best thing that our child could ever go through. We need energy. And we can't do this alone. And not everybody is zeicher to be able to do it with their spouse. Try very, very hard. But if you can't, get chizuk from someone else. Pick yourself up chizuk. We need a lot of chizuk. We need reminders to remember what we're doing this alone. But we all feel like we're in dead ends. We're like such a trap. The worst feeling is to feel like in a trap. Here we want to help our child. Here we don't have extra money. Here we have this issue. Here we have that issue. We don't have enough room in our house. It's tiny. There's no space. There's so much add-on. You know, all these add-ons, right? You buy a product, it comes with add-ons. This product also comes with a lot of add-ons. And then it's like all these tiny letters in the back that you didn't know you're signing for. You know, the klein oisius. And we signed the signature on the bottom. We had no clue what we're signing. And we're like, that's the deal. I would say that everything that's signed comes along with many small ones. And sometimes the small ones around it are worse than the sign itself. Right? So you go through difficulties. We're dealing with a major issue, but everything around it is so much more difficult. So we need to tell ourselves, maybe that's the Nasai. Maybe that's the gym. Maybe that's the exercise. You know, I envision it sometimes like we're walking down with this big shopping cart. I walk around down the aisles. Oh, I need a little bit more. Someone told you, I need a little bit more of sablunis now. You're filling up our Olam Haba shopping cart. And anything that comes our way, what midah can I work on now? Okay, on anger, on chaos, and jealousy, what? It's a shopping cart. Really? We all need to cry together. And give out our pain and scream and yell that these walls should fall off. It's healthy to do it sometimes. Whatever it takes, we do to excel in our gym and excel in our emotional muscles, our mental muscles, and build up our savings account in Olam Haba, and build all the other kids around us to have all the koiches that we have to do it. I'm going to conclude with this for now because we still have to go through a lot of the questions and answers. The Baal Shem Tov said, one of the most famous words of Baal Shem Tov, he said, it says in Tehillim, Hashem tzilchu, Hashem tzilcha. Hashem is like your shadow. Just like the shadow does exactly what you do, the light is shining, whatever you do. In Shemayim, Hashem does everything what we do. We forgive people, Hashem forgives us. Sometimes Hashem, in Shemayim, the Bez in Shemal, the Paskins and Yid Chaz Shalom, some kind of hardship that they need to go through, some kind of, and then Hashem says, you know what? Let me see if he has midas harachmim. Let me send him some kind of, to pick up someone on a hitch. Is he going to do that? let me send this child to do one more difficult thing today. And whatever we do, we forgive and we move on and we do extra, so much for our kids. Hashem Silcha, Hashem does, we're His kids. Hashem should give us all the koyach to fulfill our mission that Hashem gave us. And we should do it b'simcha. When we can. But the only way to be b'simcha is we're able to cry. We need to cry sometimes, many times. I don't need to remind everybody to cry, do I? No. I don't need reminders either. I have many reminders, like alarm clocks. So we need to have reminders to be b'simcha. We need to have moments when we focus and we think and we plan ahead. And we need to have so much more moments to be b'simcha. The other kids need to be us, if we can, to see us happy. And with your spouse, can I ask you one more thing about your spouse? Go on a date once a week. I am serious. I don't think I've passed a week without going on a date with my wife. If I don't remind her, she'll remind me. You have to do this on a weekly basis. It does not have to cost any money. To go on a walk, to take a drive, alone, cell phone off, not on vibrate, off. And that walk or that date is not to discuss heavy or complicated conversations. That's to be a teenager. When you met your spouse the first time, do that again. Just laugh and make funny, silly jokes. And just rekindle the marriage. That's all we need to do. You know who's going to benefit? We. You know who else? The kids. We need to go on a date. I'm telling you, if the title would be written today, it would be in the Aseret Adibris, I'm telling you. You know why it's not in there? Because it's of course. Hashem doesn't say in the Aseret Adibris, go eat, right? It doesn't say there. So we don't need to eat. We don't need to be told. But it looks like we're so stressed. I'm living this world. I'm here. I'm just standing here now. I'm here. I know. I have a lot of my own struggles going on in my life currently. Besides these two beautiful neshamas that I'm dealing with. But if I wouldn't do that date, I don't know how to survive. I tried to do it 2 hours, and if you can, we do 1 hour. And some families could do it 12 o'clock in the middle of the afternoon, some it's 10 o'clock at night. But every week, and if you don't make it, you do it the next day. And the next week, you do 1.5 times to make up. I'm serious. Yeherek val yaver. Telling you. No, I'm telling you, this is it. Nothing gives us more strength than that. Chill on a date. And if you can't go out and play something, I don't know what you're doing, whatever it is, do it. Stam spazieren, going to buy ice cream, I don't know, whatever it is. Everybody in their own thing. Okay, there's so much more to talk. There's billions of things. I really hope that let's all go home with this, some chizuk and advice that we spoke about, just to remember that our kids love us. We love them. They're just in pain. They're just in pain. And put on your glasses that says Rachmim. Just that. Just that.